As a book editor who previously worked at Penguin Random House and a top literary agency, I've heard thousands of book ideas. Some brilliant, others boring. And you probably clicked on this video because you're wondering, is my idea any good? Here's what I honestly believe. Any idea can become a powerful book. And I'm not saying that as a cop-out, I promise. Because what matters most is not the idea itself, but how you pitch it and how you execute it on the page. Let me show you what I mean. Tell me if you'd want to read this book. A young woman kills an animal and is taken to a magical land. Doesn't sound super interesting, does it? But I was just describing one of the most popular novels in recent years, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now look at what happens if I revise the pitch. After killing a wolf, a young huntress is dragged into a dangerous fey realm as punishment, only to find herself falling for the masked fairy lord who holds her captive. That sounds so much more interesting, right? Exact same book, exact same idea, just a stronger hook. Chances are your book idea has potential. You just haven't figured out how to pitch it yet. So today I'm going to help you reframe your book idea so that agents, editors, and readers immediately see what's so special about it. I'm going to give you 4 ways to pitch your book that'll make everyone you tell want to read it, and then I'm going to review 11 real book pitches submitted by all of you to see if your concepts have that it factor. So first, how the heck do you come up with a pitch or a hook for your book? Pretend you just stumbled into an elevator with a high-profile literary agent or publisher. It comes up somehow that you're writing a book. Naturally, they ask, what's it about? Now you have less than a minute to make an impression. What do you say? This is where most writers get totally stuck. It can feel impossible to distill your 300-plus page story into a single sentence. I get it. But the point isn't to explain all of your story's complex themes or give a full summary of your cast. It's to tease your book's singular wow factor. The thing that makes someone go, whoa, I have to read that. This is what the publishing industry calls your hook. And it's one of the most important tools in your writer toolbox, especially if you're trying to get traditionally published. Your hook has to be clear, specific, and concise. It should highlight the most compelling aspect of your story. If you're struggling to find your hook, don't worry. Let's break down the 4 main types of hooks to figure out which one suits your novel best. First up is the setting hook. This is where you emphasize the unique world your story is set in. This type of hook works especially well for sci-fi, fantasy, and historical novels. For example, here's a hook for Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. At an elite war college for dragon riders, failure means death, and a physically fragile student must survive brutal training, hostile peers, and deep political secrets the kingdom will do anything to bury. The second type of hook is a plot hook. This works especially well for stories where your characters are put in a high-stakes, difficult situation. Here's a hook for The Martian by Andy Weir. A lone astronaut wakes up millions of miles from home with no memory of who he is or what he needs to do to save humanity. The third is a character hook, which you'll use if you want to highlight something unique and compelling about your protagonist or protagonists. Here's a hook for one of the hottest, pun intended, books right now, Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. 2 star NHL rivals who hate each other on and off the ice finally give into their secret attraction, but their passionate affair could end their careers. And finally, number 4 is a theme hook. This type of hook works especially well if your novel explores complex, tricky themes or has thought-provoking commentary. Here's a hook for The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. A desperate woman takes a job as a live-in housemaid for a wealthy, seemingly perfect family, only to become entangled in a twisted psychological game where her dark past and class could destroy her. So now you have several different hook frameworks to play with. But here comes the hard part, making sure your hook actually works. Too often, writers fall into one of 2 traps. Trap 1, their hook is way too vague. It's about a woman discovering her identity. Okay, but who is this woman? And how exactly is she discovering her identity? Trap 2, the hook is totally unfocused. It's about a woman who's in the middle of a divorce from her abusive husband, but then a blizzard forces them into the house together, and then they notice their neighbor is doing something shady, but then one of them falls off the stairs, and then the first wife of the husband randomly shows up. There's just far too much going on. Your hook has to nail the perfect Goldilocks balance. Enough detail to reel us in, but not so much that we become overwhelmed. A good rule of thumb is to focus on just 3 things. Your protagonist, the key event that sets the plot in motion, also known as the inciting incident, and why it matters. What are the consequences? If you can wrap up those 3 elements into a single sentence, you are well on your way to a killer pitch. Now for the fun part. Let's see how your book ideas stack up. I asked the premium subscribers of my newsletter, Chapter Break, to share their one-line pitch for an honest critique. If you want to be included in the next opportunity, make sure to subscribe via this link. Plus, you'll get tons of helpful writing and publishing advice from me delivered straight to your inbox. For this exercise, I limited the writers to 1 sentence only. Brutal, I know. But by forcing yourself to condense your book idea into a single line, you're going to zero in on that standout element that makes your book different, the thing that will immediately draw readers in. I'll read through each of these 11 pitches and share which stories I would want to read and which ones I would skip, and of course, why. First up is an adult paranormal romance. A Catholic vampire searching for her reincarnating lover who can't remember his past lives. I love the tension that's immediately set up by introducing the protagonist as a Catholic vampire. And the fact that her lover can't remember his past lives also creates tension. The one piece I might add to this pitch is the setting. Are we in the real world or a fantastical one? Because if it's the real world where people are hunting vampires, that adds a whole other layer of drama. If this is a world where Catholic vampires are totally the norm, that's a completely different vibe. Next up is a literary thriller. The only thing worse than Karen Langston's husband dying today would be him living. I love the snappy phrasing of this one, but it leaves me wanting more detail. We get Karen Langston's full name, but we actually learn nothing about her, other than the fact that she's married. Is she an overwhelmed stay-at-home mom, or is she a successful lawyer? A detail like that could give us more insight into the conflict with her husband and why she might want him dead. It could also be interesting to hint at how her husband dies, especially if that's given away early on in the story. Next up is an adult literary fantasy / psychological horror novel. A genre-bending literary novel in which a man's imagined future, a gothic castle, a chosen family, 100 cats, begins to collapse as unresolved grief and inherited violence rupture the present. Okay, there are a lot of compelling elements here, but I need a little bit more context for how they all gel together. So I'd encourage the writer to add that connective tissue. What exactly does it mean that his imagined future includes a gothic castle, a chosen family, and 100 cats? And for that matter, where is he at, both physically and mentally, in the real world? The author mentions unresolved grief and inherited violence, but it's all too vague for us to really latch onto. Next up is a new adult novel, a mirror to the underbelly of addiction and teenagers vulnerable to sex trafficking in Houston, Texas, from the perspective of a female-to-male transgender person. I'm immediately intrigued by the description of the protagonist and the context of sex trafficking in Houston. With this one, I'm just missing a sense of what actually happens. I'd ask the author to rework this pitch to start by describing something the protagonist is doing. For example, when a female-to-male transgender person in Houston, Texas does X, they are thrust into a deadly underground sex trafficking ring. Next up is a sci-fi novel. A young religious zealot learns the life-altering truth about his God and his role in humanity's evolution and ascension. There's clearly conflict in this story, but the pitch is a bit too vague to hook me. I'd like a bit more context for the life-altering truth that the protagonist learns and how it relates to humanity at large. This author might also try grounding the pitch in more tangible plot details rather than philosophical concepts. They labeled this as a sci-fi novel, but we get no sense of any sci-fi elements, so they might weave in some world building too. Next up is a literary thriller, Moby Dick reimagined on a US base in Afghanistan. I love the simplicity of this one, and it forces us to try to reconcile two very different things, Moby Dick and a US base in Afghanistan. But I can't help but wonder what specific aspect of Moby Dick the author is referencing. It's obviously not the literal search for a whale, so who is searching for what in this story? Try to see if there's a way to work that in. Next up is a middle grade mystery / fantasy novel. An outcast girl learns the magic everyone blames for breaking the world and uncovers the truth those in power have kept hidden. With this one, we need a touch more context and world building because this takes place in an imagined setting. What makes the girl an outcast in this particular environment? What does it mean that magic broke the world? Who are the ones in power, and how does she learn their secret? There was an earlier pitch that followed a similar template of describing protagonist learns X. But rather than just outright stating what they learn, Try to include some of the action that gets them there. For this example, you could say, when an outcast girl does X, she learns whatever. That'll give us a much more complete understanding of the situation and make us care more. Next up is a work of literary fiction. When Washington, D.C. artist Luke Slate's friends drag him to the grave of Leonard Matlovich, the first openly gay soldier to challenge his military discharge, the young sketcher becomes preoccupied with the idea of shaping his own legacy. But how? I love how specific this one is. We get a lot of tangible details, including a description of the protagonist, a mention of the setting, and some concrete plot details. That's all great. But what I'm missing is the why piece. What about visiting Leonard Matlovich's grave moves Luke? And what does it mean that he wants to shape his own legacy? What is he working toward? Next up is a literary dystopian thriller. 4 ordinary people go into work for $1 trillion corporation, and none will leave whole. Ooh, this one is giving me Severance vibes. I like the simplicity of it. I wish I could just better grasp what it means that they don't leave whole. It's a dystopian thriller, so are they literally being torn apart? Or is it that the corporation is inflicting psychological damage? I think this pitch could also be stronger if we had just one more detail about the corporation, besides the fact that it's worth $1 trillion, as that could also help us make sense of the last part. Next up is an adult mystery/romance. When the truth behind their meeting is revealed, Jason and Suzanne must decide, was their love story fate, manipulation, or something they can still make their own? I like how the author has framed this question. I think it works well, but I'd like to unpack their meeting and their relationship just a little bit more since this seems like part of the setup of the story. Could you establish what they thought their meeting had been originally so we better understand the conflict? It might be nice to know how long they've been together too, as that would amplify the stakes. I'd suggest something like, upon learning their chance encounter 10 years ago was actually engineered by their parents, Jason and Suzanne must decide, was their love story real, manipulation, or something they can still make their own? And last but not least, we have a literary thriller. A rookie prosecutor wins the trial of her life, then realizes the real killer helped deliver the verdict from inside the jury box. I actually have no notes on this pitch. I think it hits all the marks. It establishes the protagonist's situation, a rookie prosecutor winning the trial of her life, and then introduces the primary conflict. The killer was actually on the jury. It makes us instantly intrigued to know what happens, and I would definitely read that. This was super fun, and honestly, everyone who submitted had super creative ideas, and all of them have serious potential. Thank you so much to all of the brave authors who shared their work, and feel free to leave a comment saying which pitch was your favorite. Remember to sign up for Chapter Break and join the premium tier if you want to be included in future critique opportunities like this. But now that you've nailed your pitch, you need to make sure that the opening of your novel actually pulls readers in. So watch this video where I critique real first pages submitted by all of you and show you how to make them stronger. Thanks so much for watching, and happy writing!